Hey Mark, what are we doing today?
Today, we're gonna hit you with some knowledge. This is a buddy from work. This is his 2015 Golf Tdi. I've done a bunch of work on this car already. We've done BC coilovers, catless downpipe, did a DPF delete, we tuned this car, got carbon fenders. We have this front lip. We did this front lip up here. It's pretty cool. This car is super rad. I actually really like it. It gets like 50 miles per gallon. It pulls really hard. It's got a 6-speed manual. It's really comfortable, nice sunroof. It's actually a really cool car. If you guys are looking at getting a really sweet daily, a Golf Tdi is pretty rad.
Yeah, I've been debating one myself for a little while, just because, I mean, it's a bit out of the norm, but all of the research that I've done is like, it works and they kick ass.
And honestly, you can pick these up for fairly cheap. I think these right now are sitting around 15 grand. That's really not
What
that
year is
bad.
this one?
This is a 2015.
Okay, yeah, so I just saw 13 for 12.
Right.
That's
yeah.
under 100,000 miles.
Yeah, and this one has 80,000 miles on it.
Right.
It's a diesel, so this is gonna last a really long time. Like I said, this is a buddy from work. I've done a bunch of work on his car already, the new wheels. He has asked me to do a clutch on this car, so Casey and I are going to
That's what we're doing.
do the clutch on this car. So what happened is I did the downpipe and the EGR delete and all that stuff, and we got it tuned, and now the clutch is slipping when he rolls on boost. So the factory clutch isn't strong enough, not enough clamping force for the amount of torque the car now makes.
Because it's making like 400.
It makes like somewhere in like the 450 foot-pound range. Like stock, these cars make like, I think it's like 180 or 200 horsepower and like 350, something like that. It picked up a lot of torque. This car is pretty quick for being a diesel that only revs to 5 grand.
Right. But, so we just went for like a really short little jaunt in it, and he like barely rolled into it, and I was very seriously impressed. Keep in mind, my 01 Vet has 350 foot-pounds of torque at the crank. So this thing feels super good. But yeah, so since it's a diesel.
So he's asked me for some recommendations on what kind of clutch to get, and we ended up getting this South Bend clutch unit.
Diesel stuff?
This is a pretty legit clutch. This should be able to hold the power that he's making, no problem. And it's gonna feel really good. Should be pretty streetable still. This car, if you guys ever have a chance to drive one, it's got the most butter transmission ever. You know, people think Honda got it right, but like...
Yeah, no, that's the funny thing is, yeah, it reminded me of the Prelude that we had.
That's what I'm saying. I think this car is a super cool daily, and it's really, really neat and unique. And the fact that we're working on it, they're kind of a pain in the ass, but they're pretty straightforward too at the same time.
And you shouldn't really be having to work on it that much.
No.
That's the whole argument, I think, is that with a lot of diesels, people are like, oh, you know, boost, heat, a lot of that stuff. But yeah, in all actuality, if the thing's reliable and you don't have to get into it too much,
yeah,
we'll
pop the hood for you, so you can check it out and just kind of see what's going on in the hood here. Push up.
Yeah, there you go. Weird. Okay.
It's a super clean package, very tidy, right? He's got a new speed intake. We did the whole downpipe and stuff. This, I just set back on there, but
yeah,
it's super cool. It's a really neat car, it really is.
It looks, and then we can get a shot of the downpipe here.
So that's the downpipe it did, and the EGR delete. Right. If you guys have a diesel and you guys know anything about the EGR system, it just fills the whole intake manifold full of carbon. I mean, it's kind of rough on diesels. It's one of the first mods that a lot of people do. It's not super kosher in like the emissions world.
Right.
But
the thing's getting 50 some odd miles a gallon.
Yeah, and actually when you tune them, you know, they actually get better gas mileage, which is cool, and they perform better. They, you know.
Right, which is nutty. That's just, what a rad package, honestly, because it's a 4-door, it's a wagon, I mean, it's a hatch. It's a hatch, so you still get the hot hatch aspect, but you know, you put 5 people in this car with 400 plus foot-pounds, you know, you're gonna be okay.
It honestly doesn't even feel it. It still moves just fine, you know.
Right, and I do find it funny that like pretty much all diesel stuff that I see is all like everybody says run South Bend.
Yeah, and I've run these South Bend clutches on like Mazdas in the Mazda world. The Mazda Speed 6, that's new.
Throwout?
That is a Throwout.
Plastic throwout?
It's got to be OEM, huh?
I suppose so.
I don't know anything about this. I'm gonna come right out and say it. I've worked on this car, and we're gonna get this done. I have faith that this is gonna happen this weekend. Maybe I just jinxed myself.
No. We'll put proof in just a little snippet right now. It ain't no thing but a chicken wing. It looks like it's butter. It's making me want to drive one.
How about you drive this one?
No, that's a bad idea. Okay, so we did get it done. Was it actually in time? The world may never know.
So, this is our pressure plate, South Bend clutch pressure plate. This is our friction disc. It's just a full face organic clutch, just like the one that I just put in the RS that you guys saw fail.
They haven't seen that yet, maybe.
I mean,
Oh, we might put the other video out first.
we might put the other video.
Yeah,
How you gonna put out a part 1 and then not follow it up with a part 2?
Yeah, I mean, you're right.
So, that's what we got.
Without further ado,
What do you think? What do you think, YouTube?
Yeah.
Let us know in the comments. Do you like diesel? Yeah, because it's got carbon and aero.
Yeah. Okay.
So, anyway, we need to get working because it's like 5:30 on a Saturday, and we need to get this done by Monday. So
Yeah.
follow us on this journey, won't you?
Please. Yeah, and of course, if you guys are actually going to stick around and watch the video, even if not, I mean, you know, thumbs up button, all that good stuff, because it all helps. So let's do diesel things.
Yeah, and you know, if you like to see grown men cry, maybe this would be a video
It's
for
also
you.
perfect for you, yeah.
So you just give us about an hour and a half, and my lack of sleep and over caffeinated body combined with working on a Volkswagen, you might see some tears.
Okay, so now we have to pull the wheel to put it back to break loose a giant nut.
Yeah, so what we gotta
Right.
do is jack it up, pull the wheel off, pop the center cap out of the wheel, put the wheel back on, put the car back on the ground, then break the axle nut free. That way we can pop the axle out of this side. That way we can pull the CV shaft out. We can drop the transmission on this side. But in order to do that, we also have to pull the intake. We've got to pull the battery. We've got to pull all this other crap and interference. There's cables that go to the shifter because this is a front-wheel drive car. This is an all-wheel drive car.
So, yeah.
Have I stressed you out yet?
Here we go! Okay, so as of the moment, Mark has pulled the cold air intake, which is just an assortment of hose clamps, blah, blah, blah. And right now we are looking for the axle nut, which I will show you. It is a 23 millimeter 12 point. So we've taken the wheel off, removed the dust cap, just punched it out of the back. And now since the wheel's back on, we have the weight on the car, we can actually get the 23 mil socket on there and ping, crack that beezy loose. Yes, the axle nut. And if it's not in his bag, I'm gonna have to go to West Bay to get it. Shout out West Bay. Hell yeah. I have faith. Okay. Okay, so there's our axle nut.
Here you go.
Boom. Ah. Hell yeah. 15/16 works, eh?
Yeah. That is the standard equivalent to the metric variable we're trying to.
Which works just fine.
It's like 280 foot-pounds or something.
Oh, good.
Yeah, you're gonna have to give it some change.
Got it. That wasn't even satisfying. That wasn't as bad as I thought. He said, and I quote, "You're gonna need to give it some chooch." And it felt like there was definitely some decent chooch to be had, but that came loose really nice. It's almost like someone's done it before.
Yeah, I know that guy.
Oh, weird.
Yeah.
Okay, so Mark's gotten quite a bit done here. What's going on?
So I got the battery out. I got the battery tray out.
There's just like some through bolts, right? The tray.
Yeah, there's 4 bolts, one there, one there. There's a pedestal here, and then there's another bolt that goes right over here. And then that whole tray comes out. And then there's this right here, which are your shift levers, right? These go directly to your shift knob. This is your selector fork, right? So you have an up and down motion, and you have a front and back. So that's how front wheel drive transmissions select gears, right? So you could go, you know, like that, and then that would be first gear, you know, then you have second gear, then neutral, you can go down, you know, 5, 6.
Gotcha. Right.
Yeah, so the next step here, I pulled the cable stand off. There's like this pedestal right here that holds the cables. So I pulled that, and now I need to get in to remove the starter and the cabling that goes to the starter. There's a hydraulic clutch, so there's this right here. Then we'll pull the battery. I gotta pull the skid plate off. This is the starter wire here, one of them. I already got one of the wires disconnected. There's another like reverse sensor right here. And then we actually, I think at that point we can kind of start to unbolt the transmission from the engine itself. So the flange is right up under here.
Gotcha. So how do we get the outward motion to get it off of?
So we'll pull the CV axle, right? We'll put a jack underneath the engine. We'll actually unbolt the tranny mount and lower the engine down. And
To give it an angle to where we can essentially start to drop it.
Then we can roll the transmission off to the side. So this upper portion here is actually fairly simple and pretty cut and dry. I mean, we've only been at this, I don't know what time it is, but we've only been at it for maybe a half hour. Casey's got the axle nut broken free.
Yeah.
It's up on jack stands now, so next we're going to pull the skid plate, and we'll start working on, you know, everything underneath as well, and any of the interference we might need to get pulled for that. So we'll pull the CV axle, I'll unbolt the top of the engine, and I'll start unbolting the transmission.
And that's your mount right there. That's your big motor mount right there? For
Yeah.
trans mount?
Yeah, so your trans mount kind of bolts to this right here. It's like a...
Which goes right into the side of your frame, pretty much.
Right, and it's supported by your frame rail on this side.
Okay.
So
Cool. Hell yeah, so we're trucking.
we're trucking. Yeah.
Right on.
You know, hopefully we'll update you with some better news here in a little while.
Yeah. And it won't be like the Mazda 6 that we did.
That also used a South bend clutch.
Oh, weird.
So Cody's also had a South bend clutch.
How's Cody doing?
Cody's doing good.
Good.
Yeah.
Shout out Cody.
Yeah, shout out to Cody.
Yeah. Miss you, dude. Don't miss your transmission, but
Yeah, love you, buddy. I know you're out there in Bainbridge, you know, designing railings and things like that. You're doing good things, and
it looks awesome.
yeah,
Cool.
great.
Yeah. Anyways,
Oh, I forgot. This also right here. This is I don't know what the hell this is. I think it's part of the braking system. To be quite honest, it goes
it appears that way.
to the brakes.
Yeah.
But I just flipped that up out of the way. There's
And then
zip
obviously
tied.
you covered your
Yeah,
inlet?
covered the inlet there for the turbo, so
'Cause-
we're not going to get any junk down inside of there.
drop a socket in there.
Yeah, God forbid we drop a socket down in a Volkswagen engine. I'd cry.
Yeah.
I don't want to cry yet.
Just
We
yeah.
might get there,
Yeah.
but I don't want to do it yet.
Right.
So
Perfect. Cool.
yeah,
Let's keep trucking.
Let's go. Let's go.
Let's go down. Oh, actually, Mark hung this up too, and I think it's a really good addition. I like it. Yeah, that's what they. Oh, okay.
It's in the service manual.
You guys can see me. Cool. Skid plate. Looking at it from underneath, this is what you're gonna see, right? So there's 3 bolts, 1, 2, 3 on center line of the car, and those are these guys right here. These are, I believe, a T35 or something like that. So there's 3 T30s right here and here and here. And then there's 1, 2, 3, 4 on the passenger side, and 1, 2, 3 on the driver's side. And those are smaller, and they look like this. Look like that. Yeah. That was nice. That's quick and easy. I hope the rest of it goes like that. Lol.
So far, so good.
Right. So good.
To go along with what he said, I just got the starter out. So with your starter, you've got this bracket that kind of sits in here like such. This guy right here. And it's held on by a 13mm nut on the backside. Okay, so the starter sits inside the engine just like this. You pull that nut off the bottom, then this bracket comes off. Then you have access here to an 18mm starter bolt, and there's 2 of them, one up here. So it's the same deal here. This is 13mm, and that goes to your actual ground for your starter. And then you pull that off, you have access to your 18mm starter bolt here, and then the whole assembly just comes right off. So it's also a good idea when you're doing stuff like this and you're taking apart a car that you might not have taken apart before. Like when you pull something apart, put the nut back on, put the hardware back where it goes. That way there's no guessing when you go to put the car back together. So I know exactly how this goes back together now because I reassembled it outside the car, and it gives a nice little demonstration for you guys. You can see how that goes together. So that's what we're dealing with.
If you can set up for your sleep deprived self 6 hours down the road when you're reassembling, do that. It makes your life so much better.
100%.
100%.
And I've done it 1,000 times.
Yeah.
You
Also,
accidentally screw yourself because you didn't do something.
yeah, and if you're like me, you'll tear a car apart and it'll sit on jack stands for 6 months, and then you're totally lost. You are up the creek.
So let's show them an engine
Yeah,
shot
yeah, that's
here,
a good
'cause
idea.
and we'll go underneath and kind of show you what we got going on.
Yes.
We've made a little bit more progress. So with the starter out and all the wiring off of this thing, you've got this, which is your backup sensor. Then you have this right here, which goes to your starter. I think that's like your ignition wire. Then you have your positive and your negative right here for your starter. They're held on to that bracket that I showed you guys how to take off. This wire clips right on that, and then it holds your negative as well. So we took that off. There's a quick disconnect fitting here, which holds your hydraulic fluid for the hydraulic throwout bearing. So that's what we're going to end up taking apart here in a little bit. At this point, we can actually access a few of the transmission bolts, which is cool, and they're all accessible from the top here. There's a 12-pointed star here, or a triple square for you Volkswagen guys, that's what you call them.
Gosh. I'm gonna snipe that one.
There's this one here, which also has an 18mm outside, so if you don't have a triple square, I think you can get it with an 18mm. There's another 18mm here, and then I'm sure there's some more on the backside that hold that nonsense together. So,
and we'll try and get shots of those as well.
yeah, we'll get shots of that. Casey also got the skid plate pulled off.
That's why you can see daylight.
So you can see daylight under there now, which is awesome. We're going to pull the driver's side CV axle. That way we can get some movement this way. I think we are going to have to pull the passenger side CV axle as well, just so we can move the transmission, because right now it's engaged in the... We'll just pop it out. We don't have to pull it from that side. We'll pop it out.
Okay.
That way we can move the transmission this way.
Okay, well.
Then when we put the tranny back, we'll have to pop it back into the transmission.
Okay.
So that's that.
You make that sound really easy.
It is.
Okay, cool.
So easy.
A caveman could do it, obviously.
What are you trying to say?
I'm just saying, look at the hair on your knuckles.
Okay, yeah, no, we've gone over this before.
Yeah, well, I'm just saying. Anyways, gotta pull this to do the thing.
Pull this,
Okay.
which exposes the end of the CV shaft.
Man, that's long.
Yes. Gatey.
Too long.
So,
That's...
that exposes the inside here of the CV axle that comes through the backside. So that bolt that Casey just took out goes directly into the CV axle. So now we'll take a soft center or something, like a brass punch, and we'll punch the CV axle out. Actually, we can put the bolt back in and use a piece of wood and knock it out a little.
Got it. Neat.
That's probably good there.
Okay.
So then we'll use a soft center here. We'll knock this back the bolt out, keep kind of driving it in until the CV axle pops out the backside.
Neat.
And then we can get on the other side, pop the CV axle completely out, and we'll start going to town on what we need to on the underside of the car as well. Which, that's where the hard part's going to be, I have a feeling, is underneath the car. So.
Yep. Yeah. I have a feeling about that as well.
But we'll update that with you guys here in a minute.
Okay. There's a lot of honesty on this channel. Say whatever you want. We don't bullshit. Like, no. There's no point.
What is the point?
Working on cars is not always, almost actually hardly ever, like, just fun. Like, joyous.
You know what was fun? That 45-minute transmission swap in the fucking...
In the FC.
In the FC.
Absolutely.
That was fun.
That was fun. I didn't even have to really turn a wrench at all at that point.
Not even a little.
Not even a little.
You want to see the rest of this EGR delete kit, guys?
Yes, I do. Which side should I be on? I want to be on this side.
Oh, come on. Yeah, just right on that side.
Okay. Oh, dear God.
So, we've got the downpipe, which is actually cast bends, which is really cool.
That is really cool.
Instead of being mandrel bent, those are actually cast bends, which are welded together. Really nice quality stuff. They come with all these stainless lines here for the EGR delete, which are your coolant bypass lines and a T-fitting there. And they come with all of like the pre-molded hoses.
I have no idea if I can see what you're pointing at.
Yeah, I think so. It's that right there. They come with all these pre-molded hoses and lines and stuff, and it's really, really cool. It's such a nice kit, and actually it bolts to all the factory locations. There's a line that comes this way and comes straight down into here, which is your DPF fluid, or your diesel. Yeah, your freaking
DEF.
No, this is your it's coolant that goes through the EGR solenoid because it gets super hot.
Okay, so the inside of the CV axle.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's a half shaft or CV axle.
Half shaft, are all these little goodies right here. So really, it's just 6 of these bolts, and we didn't have to press the brakes or anything. I pried against the head of the bolt, just with a little bit of pressure, and used 3/8 drive ratchet to break these loose actually. And it was a M12.
M10.
M10.
Yeah.
Yes, M10 triple square, like that. And then these little clipper dudes are just, these were just safeties, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the reason you pry against the head of the bolt is to prevent the half shaft from spinning, so you can actually break the bolt free.
Right. Yeah. So, I mean, that really wasn't that bad at all.
No.
Doing that in the back of the vet was a nightmare. That was cake.
That was rough.
Yeah. That was legitimately cake.
So the reason we had to take these off is that the way that Volkswagen CV axles are, it's actually 2 flanges that come together and you bolt the 2 together, rather than like the Subaru, like we showed you guys, you put a pry bar in between and there's a shaft that pops into the transmission. So it's just a little bit different way of doing the CV axles, and yeah, they just bolt together. So we got that taken apart. I'm going to pull the CV axle out, and should be good to go.
Hell yeah.
This right here is your lower transmission mount, right? There's a bolt that comes through here, which is I believe a 21 millimeter. I think I used a 13/16 for it. Then we have these 2 here, which are 16, 15. But yeah, this comes out. You actually got to pull it out of the little rubber insulator thing that bolts to the transmission and the crossmember down there. And then once this comes off, then your engine and transmission can pivot front to back. So yeah, that's where we're at. That's kind of what we're working on.
There's not really much left here at all.
That's what I'm saying. We're almost done.
Done pulling.
Done pulling it, yeah.
Okay.
These 3 bolts right here actually bolt to the transmission, this mount. And I've left these bolts in to hold the transmission up, just for the time being. When Casey and I are ready, we will pull those bolts and drop the transmission out of the car completely. So when we get to that point, we'll show you guys and we'll take those out. And that's also the point when I'm going to take off this quick disconnect fitting here for the hydraulic throwout bearing. So
And that's just a pinch and pull?
you just take a flathead like
what's the
this,
little clipper do?
and you just go like this.
Paper clip?
That comes up and then just pops right out.
Hell yeah.
Super
I
easy.
love those. Oh, I love those.
Not too bad at all.
Yeah.
So if you guys are thinking about taking this on yourself, make sure you have, triple squares. You want 12-point stuff because
Right.
that's the biggest thing. We have a pretty nice kit here. I bought this kit on eBay, and it's just a full set of triple squares, and it's wonderful. You also need 12-point outside star for doing things like the axle nut. So make sure you have
Right, and that's that was a technically 23 mil.
Yeah, 23 mil.
23 millimeter 12 point, but we used
15, 16,
15,
which
16.
is the metric equivalent.
We may have already said this.
A standard equivalent of that. So
Right. Cool. So
you see, this is Volkswagen hardware at its finest. You have an 18 mil on the outside with I think that's a M12 triple square on the inside.
which is hilarious.
That's a tranny bolt, and then another tranny bolt right next to it, right? And that one's got a pedestal for the shifter cables. So
At least they're heavy duty. Like you're not breaking those.
no, you're not going to break them.
No.
It is aluminum transmission though, so you got to be careful tightening them back in. You don't have to go like He-Man tight. It's just
Right.
tight enough. You know?
Right. Hey man. All right. So
Keep plugging away.
Yeah.
I think we can get this transmission pulled, and then I'll come back tomorrow. We'll throw everything together, and then we'll put everything back in.
cool. Cool. Pull the other ones. Also, Mark showed a really nifty trick that I'm going to show you guys because it's slick. With Volkswagens, well, a lot of rotors actually have this little notchy groove right here in the rotor. So you just went against the body of the caliper, like that. And that was, and that functioned as my stop so that I could break those bolts loose. So that's sweet. Mark, what are you doing?
I'm taking the last transmission bolt out.
And you're not going to drop it on your face.
I'm going to try not to drop it on my face.
Okay.
What I think we should probably do is get a jack.
Okay. So that little top mount that we showed you earlier on top of the transmission to the firewall, or not the firewall, the frame. Unbolt the lower 3 bolts so that the main casing of the transmission comes off of it, as opposed to unbolting the top 3 where that whole big frame will come off with it. We'll show you in a minute. Oh man, that's such fucking iconic tunage. This right here, unbolt this whole thing. These lower 3 bolts, you can leave these 3 in so that you're dropping out from underneath it as opposed to bringing this with it. Up on the engine?
Yeah.
Down?
Down.
Coming down. really try and get it home.
It's really not heavy. Just trying to gradually like transition it from my stomach to the ground. Okay. Give me back my shirt. This was hooked on a flywheel.
Oh.
And I couldn't get it around the flywheel because I couldn't get it up and over. So as soon as we lowered the engine,
I could have lifted from where I was.
well, I was doing this and rotate. What I needed was it to go down so that I could rotate the transmission up and around, which is what happened.
Right.
So we lowered it, it went up and around, and we're good to go.
Damn, dude, my blood is thin.
Okay, well, Mark's tired.
Yeah, I bet.
Go home, eat dinner, come back tomorrow, finish.
Transmission is out. Booyah. So, what was the issue, Mark? Something for the peeps to look out for?
So, if you guys are doing this at home, this flange, it actually will get hooked on the flywheel because the flywheel is bigger. So if you can see where my finger comes in, it planes in. The flywheel is it's gonna get hooked.
Yeah.
On this right here. So if you take that whole top mount off, which is like 2 inches thick, 3 inches thick, you actually get a little bit more up so that you can rotate the trans up, and then you can pivot this around the flywheel.
Yeah, because that cup right there is what was really screwing you.
Yeah, this cup right here because it was hooked on the flywheel. So
right.
That's that.
Dunzo.
So this throwout bearing is actually still
in really good shape.
In really good shape, but we're gonna replace it because we have a new one and we have it apart. So
right.
This is the new one. It'll fit right in there. Thank you, South Bend. That's awesome.
Yeah, that's super rad.
A really nice piece. So yeah, we'll swap that in. Do the clutch tomorrow when we're a little bit more rested up, hopefully.
Right. So we will catch you guys tomorrow when we start the reassembly process.
Yep. In this whole video, I think you'll see the start and finish of this project.
No, it's going to be a long video. It's already, I've accepted that.
This is a nice bearing.
Tomorrow, fresh bodies.
Yep.
Put in the nice stuff. And then we're going to have to muscle that transmission back into place.
Yeah. And this is honestly, this thing, it's probably maybe like 100 pounds? 70,
I don't know.
75, 100 pounds? It's really not that heavy.
I have no idea, Mark. I have no clue. I was not really doing anything because you weren't letting me.
I'm telling you, it's probably 75 pounds. It's not that big.
Yeah, I guess that's true. Mark got the Pokemon music stuck in my head.
You're welcome.
But yeah, all right. We'll see you guys tomorrow.
Hopefully you guys are enjoying this project as much as we are.
Yeah.
Honestly, it's not that bad.
Yeah. I mean,
Done a lot worse.
yeah. Yeah.
You want to freaking pull your head out?
You're welcome.
Put your finger out. Okay.
So, actually get I suppose. All right, we're back. It's muggy as shit, for Washington at least.
Yeah, it's a little warm, very wet, therefore muggy.
Yeah, so this is going to be a very sweaty endeavor. But look, we hung stuff up. Well, I did while Mark was doing house stuff. So, badass Jake's poster, moved the grill, put up the Corvette banner, and so it looks so good.
It looks really good.
Oh my
we
gosh.
got the key holders over here,
Yes.
along with our whiteboard for miscellaneous BS. And
Yeah,
we might need to
I gotta find that. I gotta find that marker. But we got to get cranking on this thing because it's not exactly a deadline, but it's not a deadline.
We'd like to get it done today. It's already 5:15, and I have to go to work at 9:30. So
Oh dear Lord.
a few hours to get this done.
Oh.
So what we're gonna do is do more of a time lapse, I think, for the second session of
Yes.
reassembly, because it is just the opposite of what we did to take it apart. We'll show you replacing the throwout bearing, because the throwout bearing is a hydraulic one and it just bolts in place here. So we'll show you the cleanup of this. We'll do the clutch and the cleanup of the flywheel, and we'll reassemble all that stuff. And then once that is done, we'll throw it in time lapse mode, and you guys can just watch us reassemble the whole car. So.
Right.
I think that would work out pretty
Because
good.
that will be turning and burning.
Turning and burning, we're just going to get it done. Not a whole lot of explanation needed, because honestly, we're just
literally in reverse.
we're just a couple of idiots.
Yeah. We're not mechanics. We play them on the internet. So, you know, pay attention, but don't, you know,
Yeah.
it's not wholly, it's not, yeah.
Yeah, we're trying to give you an idea of how involved this is, less of an idea of how to do it exactly.
Right. Yeah. Anyways,
That's that.
let's get to cranking this out. Oh yeah, what?
Pup date.
Pup date. Boom, top mount is in, all those funny little bolts are in. Blinding mark, actively. Yeah, bolts.
Lower tranny mount is in.
Lower tranny mount is in.
Yeah.
What does that even look like?
Well, it's a lower one, and it's down here.
Okay. Is it like a cross member type of thing?
If you can see this, it's this part right here. So there's two bolts that go in here, and then it attaches to a really flimsy, flexible
that at
rubber
all.
bushing.
Can't see that at all.
You can't? Okay. Well, it's down here. Trust me. This is the lower tranny mount right here.
Want to do it again?
So
Oh, that bar.
this right here.
Got
and
it.
then this goes into that bushing right there.
Yes, so that was
So-
shown earlier. Got it.
Yeah.
Got it. Cool. Starter.
If you want to start working on the axle bolts, if you can get those in
Those are gonna
tight.
be something else.
These are all tight?
Yes.
Like-
You can check them,
Sure.
but they're lower back cramp tight. Assembly under the car is done. Phew, I'm gonna pass out. I put a whole bunch of piss and vinegar on that shit.
We also got the shifter cables installed up top. I got the battery back in and the battery tray. Got pretty much everything hooked up here, installed the starter, all the wiring's reconnected. Basically, all we have to do is try to bleed the clutch, which I don't know if we're going to be able to, because it says that we need a special bleeding tool. We're supposed to put 2 bar of pressure into the internal slave cylinder and then crack it a quarter turn.
2 bars, 28 psi, right?
That's 28 psi for everybody in the US that doesn't use metric,
Right.
unlike the rest of the world that uses metric.
Oh, where's your logic? I don't know. We like to be different. Yeah, oh, yeah. Oh, let's use miles and feet and stuff. 1, 2. 1, 2.
Okay, so all we have left.
We've only been at this for another hour and a half, basically, and we're back to this reassembly stage. Once the transmission got put in. The transmission, it really only took about, what, 25, 30 minutes to put in?
Yeah, if that. 25 if that.
It was a really quick job. So I'm feeling really good about this so far. We're just going to try and bleed this real quick, and if it works, cool. If not, Isaiah, you won't get your car back. And we're going to keep it for ourselves because we actually are kind of fond of
Yeah,
this
both
thing.
of us. I was underneath the tightening bolts and I was like, this thing's pretty sick. I like it.
Back to touring.
Back to touring. Okay.
So just do it with your hand, like I was doing.
Yeah.
So do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And on the 10th one, hold the pedal down all the way.
Okay.
How's the pedal feel?
Good. Holding.
It feels good though?
Yeah.
Because I got a ton of like shitty looking gross fluid over there.
Yeah, like I hope he's in for a
Leg workout?
Yeah.
Good. It's a stage 3 pressure plate, so it's gonna be a fucking leg workout.
Yeah, that's a workout for sure, dude. I don't even want to ask.
Hey, we didn't mess anything up. You saw it go forward and back.
Yes, we did. We win. Suck it easy.
All right, Isaiah, your car is ready for pickup.
Well, dude, we still gotta fucking do the cap and shit.
Yeah, I know. We gotta torque it first.
And torque the shit to spec.
Yeah, which it is 145 foot-pounds.
148 with a half a turn.
Half turn.
Wow, that doesn't do anything. Smells like diesel in this bizzle. For shizzle.
So with a half turn,
Yep.
that would bring it to here, yeah?
Yes.
All right, slap this cap back on and torque these mug nuts.
Nerd nerds, dude. Was that really that easy? Did you just fucking...
Yes.
Okay.
There's a snap ring that just...
And then we're twerking these to...
You have Volkswagen, what are the wheel specs for that?
Excuse me? Oh, I do on a Volkswagen. Gross.
Let's get everything out of the way and we'll take this BZ for a test ride.
Sounds good. Let's do it. So this is a stage 3.
Yep, stage 3 South Bend daily clutch. It's the SSO according to the instructions.
This is so.
Yeah. And honestly, it feels really good. It's not too aggressive. It's definitely a firmer pedal than the stock clutch, but it just has a lot more clamping force. But it does feel a little bit more firm, the pedal does.
Sweet. We all like a little more pedal feel.
Yeah.
I kind of want one. I'd be lying if I said I didn't. It kind of, honestly, it sounds stupid, but it kind of makes me excited to make the Fiat too fast for its clutch.
Right.
Fast for its clutch. That was a weird sentence. So I can replace the clutch in that and see how complicated that is versus this.
Yeah, you would think that this would be unbelievably complicated because it's a Volkswagen, but
Yeah, but it really was not.
all things considered, I mean, 6-hour brake job or
Yeah.
clutch job, and we filmed it, which means it took a little bit longer than normal, but 6 hours is a job well done, I think.
Yeah, that's one day if we had a day chipped away for it.
Yeah, exactly.
With a hefty lunch break.
Exactly.
Yeah, because I was worried about the transmission and then tipping the engine up so you could get past the subframe. Once it rocked up there, like, it was good to go, effectively. I mean, it stabbed into place just fine.
Yeah, it just kind of went right
Yeah,
over the dowels and everything.
I mean, of course, he was bench pressing it, but
It ain't no thing.
it ain't no thing but a chicken wing. And of course, for the initial break-in, you're not babying it, but
Yeah, so South Bend's instructions are stop and go traffic for 500 miles. Highway driving does not count because they want the on-off of the clutch.
the engagement, disengagement.
Exactly.
Clutch, right.
So, yeah, it actually feels really good. I'm happy with it. Hopefully Isaiah will be happy with it. And it's a job well done, Casey.
Hell yeah, dude. Hell yeah. Shout out Isaiah. Thanks for letting us wrench on your shit. This thing was cool.
Yeah, thank you again, Isaiah.
And,
Yeah, definitely a race clutch.
yeah. Right on. Well,
It's still smooth though. It's butter. I'm happy with it for sure.
it looks like it's butter. It's making me want to drive one.
How about you drive this one?
No, that's a bad idea. Maybe after 500 break-in miles.
No, you should drive it right now.
No.
No, I'm gonna turn
No,
around.
no.
You can drive it just down to the bus stop and back.
No, dude.
It'll be great, I promise.
That's going to be it for this video. I'm just going to take it for a little... But, clutch job done, 6 hours.
6-hour clutch job.
You need a triple square, 14, 12, and a 10 or something like that.
And you need,
23 millimeter, 12-point axle bolt.
yep, and you need a 9mm. That was the weird one.
9 mil.
I don't personally have a 9mm, but a 9mm 12-point socket. You
Right.
need one of those as well.
Yeah, which is weird, but yeah. So,
All things considered.
all things considered, good stuff. Good luck. We wish you luck. Hopefully this video helped, and we will catch you guys in the next video.
Peace!
And I gotta drive this thing.